What is going on? What is really, really good? Just so everybody knows, this is your boy Cool McCain, Sports Empire Network. We here giving y'all the and one podcast tonight. Right now, I'm Dolo. I should be joined by my colleague soon. But hey, either way, we about to rip it tonight. About to give y'all a little bit of that Sports Empire Network information, a little bit of that entertainment, a little bit of Sports Empire Network fun. If you haven't already, hop over to the YouTube, subscribe. About to drop the video here, and then we're gonna get into it. Let's go. Big time. What's going on, man? So look, man, I'm here. Like I say, solo right now. We're gonna talk some basketball. It's Friday night. It's about 10:03. Y'all know what time it is. Y'all know the place to be. So a couple of things, we had in the pipeline, of course, to discuss. So go ahead and start getting to those. The first thing, I don't know if it's talk about the standings right now. So just to give y'all a quick update, for those of you who may not be aware, we're going to talk about the top teams in each conference. So in the Eastern Conference, your top five teams, we're going to cut off at five. Just give you a quick update. The Celtics at 26-10 are in first place, winners of their last four. The Brooklyn Nets have surged up to second place, winners of the last 10 at 23-10 and 12. Excuse me. The Milwaukee Bucks at 22-12 have fallen to third place. They've lost their last four. Cavaliers 22-14. They lost their last three. We didn't have the 76ers at 20-13. They've lost their last game. So, excuse me, that's your top five in the East. Then we're going to go out west. Your top five in the West, we have the New Orleans Pelicans at 22-12, winners of the last four. Denver Nuggets also at 22-12 in second place. They lost their last game. The Grizzlies, 21-13, winners of one in a row in third place. The Los Angeles Clippers, 21-16, losers of one straight in fourth. And the Phoenix Suns, losers of one in fifth also. So what that tells me, a lot going on, a lot of movement within the NBA. What I'm also going to do now that we've talked about those top five real quick, I'm going to just slide back over, give you a piece of information on the next five in each conference. And I have a couple of thoughts I want to share with you guys. It's a method behind the madness. All right, here. So when we roll back over and we discuss the next five, so we got the Pacers at 19-7, the Heat at 18-7, the Knicks at 18-8, the Hawks at 17-19, Bulls at 15-19. So with those Pacers have won 2, Heat have won 2, Knicks has lost 5, Hawks have lost 3, Bulls have won 1 in a row. So just looking at those top 10 teams in the Eastern Conference right now, I'm asking myself, who seems out of place where they're at, high or low? Who do I expect to kind of stay where they're at? And who do I expect to move? So for me, when we look at the very top of this conference, right? If we keep a healthy Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving stays focused on basketball, the top 3 are going to be Celtics, Nets, and Bucks. Cavaliers are going to make some noise in that argument, but I think they're just a tad bit below that top 3 over the course of an entire season. The Sixers could also slide into like the 4th spot, but I think they're comfortably safe in that top 5 for me. So I think that top 5 is pretty much going to stay the same. Now, the 6th seed is very interesting to me. I think a healthy Miami Heat team moves up 6, maybe even competes for top 5. I think Knicks somewhere between 6 and 8 is where they're going to fall. Hawks and Bulls, I just haven't seen what I really need to out of those teams. I wouldn't even be surprised if the Wizards or the Raptors were to overtake them. But I think we're seeing the top teams pretty much kind of show us who they are. That next group that's going to fill out the play-in games in the lower part, 6 and on down. I think we're starting to see that one team is going to fight to not have to get in the play-in. I think we're starting to see what we need to see from that as well. So very excited just to see that this season's starting to get there. We're about 36, 37 games in, so a little bit less than halfway. I think we're starting to see, that separation between some of the better teams and some of the okay teams, which happens all the time. This is nothing new. This isn't something that just came out of nowhere. This is how this rolls. This is how it always has. Now, when we move over to the Western Conference, I think most would agree with me, but this is a little bit more competitive. You look at the 6th seed, the Mavericks, they're 20 and 16, as well as Phoenix. They've won 5 straight. The Kings are 18 and 15, winners of 1. Trailblazers 18 and 16, they won 1 straight. Jazz 19 and 18, losers of 2. Warriors 18 and 18, they're winners of 3. Keep in mind the Warriors don't have Steph, so they're hanging around that play-in game with Steph out. They could get Steph back. We're definitely going to see them ascend somewhat, probably into that top 5. I say any more than that, we might be pushing it as of right now, because I like the Pelicans, I like the Nuggets, Grizzlies, Clippers, Suns. They could fluctuate. You think about the Clippers, the Suns, the Mavericks, and the Kings. They're all within a game of each other. So 4 through 7 is really tight. And hey, Pelicans, Nuggets, and Grizzlies are all within 1 game of each other. So we're not talking big separation there either. You're talking about the Lakers are 8 games out of first at 15 and 21. That's how deep it is. You go to the bottom team is only 12 and a half games out right now, and that's the Houston Rockets. And of course, the Spurs, 10 and 5. I think a lot of people are on that Victor Wembanyama train. One thing I want to say about that, there's no guarantee that you are going to get Victor Wembanyama. So for me, go out and play. You don't want to ever in the NBA because there's a lottery. So a lot of times your top team does not get the first pick. That's not something that you want to have. So for me, go out and ball. Don't worry about the whole Victor Wembanyama thing. It'll work itself out. Whoever's supposed to get him will get him. But I wouldn't tank for him. Clearly, a lot of people are. So in talking about those standings, there's 3 teams in specific that wanted to discuss tonight. So the first one is going to be the Brooklyn Nets. We talked about how they won 10 games in a row. Talk about how they've been playing well. A question for anyone watching, anyone who sees the replay. Do you think they have staying power? Do you believe that the Brooklyn Nets have what it takes to be in their top 2 or 3? I've said for me they do. If Durant and Kyrie are healthy, they have other guys that are contributing as well. But let's be real, this team goes as far as they take them. You've got Seth Curry. You could use his 3-point shooting, definitely. You've got that guy Ben Simmons. You could use something from. But at the end of the day, those are the two guys that you need to make things happen. Jacque Vaughn doing well in the coaching role, which I think is different. I think he's respected by those guys. I think last year we had a big mess, but they decided to fix that mess. And once that mess was fixed, we started to see this team this year start to be a better team. Listening to the coach, running sets, you got a guy that understands basketball, that has a history in basketball, that has played the game before, that has coached before, right? That you have respect for as a coach and as a hard-nosed player. Those to me are the guys that make the best coaches. So I love to see that, and I love that Brooklyn is where I anticipated them being the last couple of years. When you got Kevin Durant and you got a focused Kyrie Irving and guys around him to take care of the other things, you've got a team that can win a lot of times. And we're seeing that. Also, when you have guys like Seth Curry, we talked about before, some of the young bigs they have there and different people, you have guys there who are going to give you enough. What those guys are doing, what they're doing, when they're the third, fourth, fifth, sixth options, they can give you points in spurts. They can do those things. Get everybody healthy, get that team back. And this is what you see. You see a team, Durant-led, healthy players, playing well, great streak. They getting at the top. So in the NBA right now, obviously the Boston Celtics, I think, are the team on everyone's mind. I think everyone and their grandma is focused on the Boston Celtics. As well they should be. The Boston Celtics are playing great basketball now. They're not the only team playing great basketball, but they are, and they're the guys that lost in the championship last year. Sometimes losing the championship is the best thing for a young team. You get there, you get the experience, and you still got the hunger. That's where those guys are at, so I anticipate seeing them back there. Denver Nuggets. They're essentially tied for first, but in second place right now. For the Denver Nuggets, they go as far as the two-time reigning MVP, Nikola Jokic, takes them. There's no magic formula. There's no shock. There's no something that we didn't know. We knew who the Nuggets were going to be when the season started. They've got some other guys back in Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., and guys like Bruce Brown, different guys. But at the end of the day, you got Nashawn Highland, Bones Highland from coming off the bench, several other people that are contributing to this team. But what you have to understand is they go as far as the two-time reigning MVP, the king of the triple-double, takes them. Jokic did not become a back-to-back MVP by accident. He did not come a back-to-back MVP because he's someone's favorite player or someone loves him, whatever. He got to be the MVP because he went out and he played. He didn't worry about who was there, who was hurt. He worried about what he could do to help his team be the best that it could be. He did that. And that's why his team is the best that it can be right now. That's why they have a share of the lead in the West, and that's why they're a team to watch. As you can tell, I am a Nuggets fan. No doubt about that. But when you talk about these teams, when you really talk about these teams, you have a tin of what we call homerism. Everybody has their favorite team or favorite player, but you're looking at the entirety, the whole of the picture. That Nuggets team is going to get better as Murray, as Porter, who's now back playing, he's been back the last few games, get in and start playing. So as they play, that's how this team is going to ascend. I think this team is going to be there for the long haul. It may not be second place, but I definitely don't see them falling out of the top four unless there's injuries or the guys just going a bad losing streak, which I don't anticipate with the quality of talent that they have there. You have to be in your A game in the West. Pelicans, very surprising. But I think a healthy Zion Williamson is everything for that team. Zion Williamson being healthy gives you the dynamic playmaker, scorer, rebounder, kind of all rolled into one. No minutes restriction much this year. He's out there playing. We're not worried about what happened in the past. We're looking at the future. You've got a lot of guys there, a lot of veteran players, a lot of guys around there. You've got line guys like Brandon Ingram. You have a good mixture. You got CJ McCollum there. There's so many other guys that I can name, but the fact of the matter is this team is playing well because Zion is there. He hasn't been there in the past. He's been healthy so far this year, and he's been able to add what he has to what's already there. And the Pelicans were playing well at the end of the year last year. They made some noise in the playoffs. They showed that they were ready to become this team that we're seeing right now. We didn't know how fast it would be because, number one, we didn't know what was going to happen with the main ingredient they haven't had, and that's Zion Williamson. Healthy Zion, he matters as much to this team as a healthy AD matters to the Lakers. So I'll say that, and that's how I feel about that. Also talk about your East and West All-Star starters. So we'll start in the West. So in the West, if I had to pick right now, I'm going to have at one guard position, Ja Morant. That goes without saying the way he's playing. The other guard position, we got to put Luka. So you got to have Luka and Ja Morant. Right? Front court players, there's a lot of ways you can go. I'm going to go Zion Williamson, who I feel is the best player on the co-best team or by standing the best team in the West. Obviously, I'm going to go, Nikola Jokic at center. So we have another forward position to fill. So there are several different guys that we could put there. But I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to go Jeremy Grant. Because of what Jeremy Grant has done in the West, I will put him in. Truthfully speaking, though, that other position is going to LeBron James. But you're looking at doing something different, shaking it up, I would go Jeremy Grant. But we all know the position is going to LeBron James because he's LeBron James. Steph Curry wasn't hurt. He would probably be in that mix for the guard position as well. So the five that will happen, or I think will happen out west, actually I think will happen, is Luka, Ja Morant, Zion Williamson, LeBron James, and Nikola Jokic. That's my five starters in the West. So we go over to the East. So I'm going to say Jason Tatum in the front court, with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, I'm tempted to say Joel Embiid. That's what I'm going to put in now. But if he continues to play the way he's playing, he may lose that starting spot in the front court to Kevin Durant. So just going to, throw it out there. Healthy Durant may get Embiid's spot because Tatum's playing lights out. He's got to get a spot, right? He's playing at forward. So by the fact that he's playing forward, you're going to have to do it by position. So that would essentially put him there. But yeah, you got to put him in. So I think you got to look at Embiid maybe being the guy that gets to bounce out just because of, what's happening right now. But I wouldn't be surprised if Embiid does make it. I'm actually going to put Embiid over Durant right now just because he is like the best true big man in the East. So I'm going to go Tatum, Embiid, Giannis in the front court. Now the back court. This is where you come into a little bit of questions. But I'm going to go with Donovan Mitchell at one guard position. And this is tricky for the other guard, right? Because the top teams, the Celtics, the Nets have Kyrie, but I don't think he's played at that level yet. Bucks, Middleton's injured, right? Cavs, we got Spider, 76ers. You could say Harden, but can you really say Harden? But you look at the other teams, it's kind of difficult just because I don't feel like anyone's really separated themselves much. But I guess I'll go ahead and go Jimmy Butler, just off of I think he's a guy that'll get voted, and fans have a part of this vote. So I think Jimmy Butler is going to be the other starting guard. So I'm going to go Butler, and I'm going to go Donovan Mitchell in the back court. In the front court, I'm going to go Giannis. I'm going to go Embiid, and I'm going to go Jason Tatum, who is playing. Only way to say it is amazing. So that's where we're going to go with that. There's several other guys you could talk about. There's several other names you can put, but at the end of the day, you can have two people in the front court, three people with the two people in the back court, three people in the front court. So just trying to make the picks based off that. We know that it's a 1-year award, but in the NBA, it's more of what have you done over the years than the other leagues. So I think that's going to be the 10 guys we have as of right now. So, guys, we're looking at a shorter show tonight because it's just me, but that's all good. We're at the end of the year, so we could talk some of the best moments. I think for me, the best NBA moment, and it's not just one moment, but it's been the ascension over the past 365 days of one Ja Morant. Ja Morant was picked behind Zion Williamson. There were some people who felt that New Orleans should have picked him over Zion Williamson. Most people agreed that he should be a top 2 pick, but that Zion was a surefire top pick. However you felt, we know that Ja was at worst the second best player projected in his draft. An argument can be made right now that he's the first. Sorry, my throat's getting a little dry. So for me, I'm going to go just with the ascension of Ja Morant. Him taking over the team, him coming out, getting more vocal, getting more aggressive, being the guy to make the shots, being the guy to do all the things that he can to make the game the way it needs to be. He's playing the game at a high level. He's stepping into a vacuum where we've got some guys that are still stars, but they're getting older. He's starting to ascend, and we need that in the NBA. He doesn't necessarily have to be the guy, but he can be one of the guys. He can be a franchise cornerstone. We need guys like that, and I've enjoyed watching him this past year in 2022, man. Just, from the beginning of the year, the playoff run, the beginning of this season, the attitude, the bravado, I'm loving it. I love to see guys just come into their own. I won't say mature because that to me means he wasn't mature before, and some people weren't, but he's just coming into his own. He's becoming the guy that we anticipated seeing a long time ago with him back in college days. So glad to Ja Morant for that. And I think that's great. Now, another thing I wanted to touch on, breakout NBA star of 2022. I'm going to have to say Jason Tatum for that. And the reason is he's always had potential. He's always kind of been there, but that run to the playoffs, all the way to the finals for him, and the fact that when he kind of didn't have it in the finals, that team was just done. Lets me know everything I need to about Jason Tatum and how valuable he is to his team and how him ascending even higher, him maturing, because I think he did mature. He's learned how to play with his team. He's learned how to share the ball a little bit more naturally without needing to force it, just in the flow of the game. He's been a lot more aggressive. He's been amazing. He's a guy that you look at and you say, man, this guy's grown. This time last year, he was like, man, Jason Tatum's a good player. But since then, since the All-Star break last year, especially, this guy's just reached another level. He's broke through and he's become a superstar. I love to see it. And I'm happy that he's been able to achieve that in his career. So, best duo in the NBA right now was asked. This is a question that you can answer from a lot of different angles. For me, for you to be the best duo, that means you've both played most of your games this year. So you can say like a LeBron and AD, because LeBron and AD did play a lot of their games this year right before injury. Another duo you would bring up is Harden and Embiid. You don't really have a second with like Jokic just because of injuries. Unless you want to go with like Aaron Gordon, you could. But if I had to pick a duo right now, I'm going to look at the best team in the West. And I'm going to say Zion Williamson and CJ McCollum. And like I said, there's so many ways you can go. But I think when you look at Zion inside, the passing, all that, CJ McCollum with the leadership, learning by playing with Damian Lillard, Mr. Dame Time for all those years, developing that clutch shot itself, being a three-point shooter, being a leader on that team. I think that's the best duo we have right now. If we were looking at a second place, if I was getting like a shout out to second place, if I was doing a runner-up and the second runner-up, I would go to the Celtics, and I would say obviously Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And then I would go to the Cavs, and I would go to their backcourt, because that backcourt is sick right now. And again, they've been playing together. They've been on the court for most of the year together, and it makes all the difference for me. So you got Darius Garland, and then, of course, the aforementioned Donovan Mitchell. That duo, I really like as well. And there's others as well, but if I was picking, like I said, my top duo would be out west in Zion and CJ McCollum, just because of what they bring to the team, the elements, and how they can play off each other. You could have put Brandon Ingram in there with Zion as well, but I'm going to go with CJ McCollum. Like I said, I'd go to the East for my next two, which I'd call my two runner-ups, first and second runner-up, however you want to place them. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland. That's what I do. So that's what I have for you guys tonight. Want to shout out the Sports Empire Network. Want to shout out everyone who has watched, everyone who follows, everyone who makes it a replay of this. Keep checking on Sports Empire Network. Solo tonight, all good. If you know the sports, you can talk them. If you don't, you can't. But yeah, we'll be back next week. Hopefully we'll have more of a crew. If not, you'll see your boy again. It is what it is. We're here to make it happen. Week after week. And shout out to Top 5 That Are Alive coming soon. Be on the lookout for that. You will be seeing this logo again. But yeah, thank everybody that tuned in. Thank everybody that watches. If you see the replay, leave us a like, leave us a subscribe, hit that YouTube page, Sports Empire Network page. We growing, we building. Happy New Year, everybody. Next year, you're going to see even more. It's going to be even better. So with that, we're going to rock this thing out. Got a few things for you to see, and we out of here.